How's my boy? Huh? How's my buddy? This is my buddy Crew. He's the best guy ever. He's a total rock star, let me tell you. Yeah. I got Kai out here too. So we're cruising these old skid trails doing some scouting today. And the skid trails run all through the mountains up here. They're old. You can see the trees are all growing back up good. You can see the old stump lines, but the trails are still here. And they're nice going. And they're a lot cooler. It's early morning. We've been making good time this morning. I had an early breakfast and took off. And then it's cooler for us up here in the day. And then running the forest skid trails is better. Now, I'm going to touch on a few subjects today, but one is the importance right now. I think people are starting to finally catch on to what I've been talking about having a hunting dog. All these preppers, they've been talking about getting ready for some seriously tough times, but they're all missing the boat. The number one thing in your whole agenda for getting ready for some tough times is the dog. And if you don't have a hunting dog, if you don't have hunting dogs, well, you just got another mouth to feed. But if you got hunting dogs, of course, then they'll supply all the nutrients you need. I mean, you gotta go along and eventually skin something out, but shoot it and skin it out. But they're going to find it. They're going to bring you to it, and they're going to make sure you don't starve. And hunting dogs are phenomenal. Now, this type of dog is the oldest known hunting dog there is. And of course, it's extremely good in the timber for more things than hunting. But it's a phenomenal dog to have in the times that are coming. Now, what you need is instincts in the dog, because people have long lost the skill of how to handle a dog in the mountains and use the dog effectively. And so what you do is you get a dog that has all the instincts, makes your life really easy, because you really don't need to know much. All you got to do is know how to keep up. And he knows exactly what to do. All these full instinct rich dogs like Karoo, you can see him scenting all the time. He's constantly catching drafts up here. And we were way down there, his head was just going steady, and Kai's just circling all the time. Now, I've been keeping Karoo with me because there is a fair bit of game right in here, and I'm not hunting this morning, so I just keep him with me, but you can see him scenting. Now, Karoo is a very important dog because he brought genetic diversity back into the Elkhounds. Kai's dad there, Bram, was one of the first imports, first generation in Canada from Norway to bring that diversity in. And Karoo, of course, a major contributor now to the North American genetic pool. I don't know if you guys know this, but in North America, about the last time a really good Elkhound was imported was in 1970, or give or take in that 70 region. Might have been 69. But it's been that many years since good Elkhounds have been imported and brought in to diversify the genetic pool. We've been running on the same genetics almost. Camilla Kennels is pretty much the only kennel that's bringing in these boys. And over the years, we've consistently imported dogs so that our genetic pool is extremely diverse and very, very strong. You get a much stronger dog. Now, what's happening in the industry, of course, is that the genetic pool that they can breed to is shrunk down considerably because the bulk of breeders in North America don't have anybody to go to because there's not enough genetics there. They're all related, and so they're having issues right now. Second to that, what's happened there is they haven't focused on their own lineages as much, and so the genetic pool is shrinking at a much faster rate than normal. Now, I don't know if everybody understands the genetic shrinkage in any dog breed, but when you mate Karoo to Kai, for example, you get a lot more pups, you get more dogs, but you get exactly half the genetics. You're left with half the genetics. You lose half. So every time you breed a pair of dogs, what you're left with is exactly half the genetic material. And so every single time that you have a pair of dogs and they're moving on to past breeding age, half the genetics is gone. Now, you need to stretch the genetics out. You need to make the breeding pairs last way longer. And we're kind of in a war with evil forces, satanic forces right now against full breed dogs. So the one thing you want to never do is on a full breed dog, a full blood like this, you never neuter or spay. You only do that with crossbred mutts, rescue dogs, all these puppy mill dogs, all that stuff. You never, ever, ever spay or neuter these dogs. They're under attack, these dogs. Now, I don't know if you know this, but back in 1877, 1880, whenever they started the associations, that was the first attack right then. And systematically, they've deceived and used deception to fool almost everybody. Now, there was a lot of old breeders that never went for it, and guys like me, that sort of thing, we don't fall for those tactics, but many people follow the guidelines of those so-called satanic influences in those organizations, and they will take a female like Kai, come. And they will write little articles saying it's for the health, for the benefit, this and that of the female, and we should shorten up the amount of litters she has. We should make it shorter because, it's better for her health. And they're not citing any actual facts. They're not talking about anything of any facts. Nobody ever asks. They just think, these guys must know what they're talking about. But what they'll say is things like, take Kai, come. I'll bring her up so you can see. What they say is shorten up the breeding to 4 litters. First it was 5, now it's 4. And what that does is shortens the time frame that the genetics last. Come on, Kai, come here, I want to talk about you. And it kills off this full-blood breed faster so that they can bring in their crossbred strategy. Their whole strategy is crossbred mutts. Now, this is a 10-year-old dog. Okay. This is a 10-year-old dog. In a few days, she'll have her 10th birthday. She's had 34 pups, 6 litters, and just a rock star. Total dominant female, can run all day, excellent shape, looks like she's 2. Just phenomenal dog. And this is what breeders should be following, is this protocol, and the breed lasts way longer. Now, the key with doing this is you have genetic diversity, because you bring a very good North American dog, bring in the best from overseas. Now you got an extremely good match. Come up, Kai. Kai, come up here. Good. And these are 2 incredible dogs. Now, what I did was I used one of the best strategies known for preserving full-blood dogs, and that is you can take a pup out of an early litter, a female, and hold it back and get pups. But what you want to do is take the pup out of the last litter. Kai, of course, herself and her sister Tika are out of last litter of Torah. So what we did is when we made a Karoo to Kai, we kept the last litter pup, which is named Rita. So Rita now is down in Montana, a daughter of Karoo, and full hunting dog, full working dog, full instincts intact, and she's got pups by Pretty Boy Leaf. Now, remember I mentioned that last good dog that came into North America. Now, there's been some dogs maybe imported, not real dogs of note, not real dogs of outside of Karoo, Swix, Bram, that sort of thing. But remember that dog I talked about in the 70s? Well, Pretty Boy Leaf, he traces back to that dog. I know where that dog came from. I know what kennel that dog come from. I've been around these dogs since I was in my diaper, right? So, I mean, I know all the good Elkhounds. Now, when you're looking at getting a pup, what you want to get is genetic diversity. But here's the thing. Everybody has to start to realize now that what we got to do is support all the full-blood breeders of all breeds and stop with this puppy mill stuff. And just so you know, every dog that's classed as a rescue dog in Canada, for example, is not actually a rescue dog. That's a full-on lie. What they are is puppy mill dogs brought in, flown in, hauled in to Canada, and then termed rescue. And so they deceive the whole public. The public thinks it's a little old lady that had a dog and couldn't feed it anymore, so she gave it to a shelter. That's only like 1 in 100,000. The rest of the shelter dogs are all hauled in from puppy mills. Every time you take and support that satanic freak show, you take and kill off the pure breeds, because it takes and puts a ton of stress on the pure breed breeders so that we can maintain this. You've got to start helping the breeders keep these old lines alive and pure, because your kids and their kids will never see one if it keeps going the way it's going. In North America, the female genetics in 5 years or less, and it's going very fast, in 5 years or less will be completely in half. There'll be half as many as there is today. And so it's a tremendous thing that is happening. We're getting wailed on. Not only that, we're getting wailed on with vaccination mishaps, all this kind of stuff. And believe me when I tell you that it's by design. And so, I have vets still fighting me. Like literally, I'd like to lock them in the garage with me is what I'd like. They're hundreds of miles away, thousands of miles away. But if I had a few of them, I'd lock them in the garage with me and explain it carefully to them. I'd put them in there and lock the door with me, and then I could explain it properly. But they're still arguing with me about some of the protocols that we want to change so that we don't have episodes where we bring a vaccinated pup back to the breeding operation and then have a breakthrough. We're trying to explain that to a vet, that we want the vaccinated pup to go to the new owner and have the new owner potentially even bring the pup in for the vaccination and go home, rather than us and encountering a breakthrough, because their breakthroughs are very real. But vets are actually arguing with us that it's only us that can take the pup in and have the vaccination. The owner can't walk in the next day with the pup and do it. That doesn't count. That's no good. That 24-hour window, the vaccine isn't even activated till the third set at 16 weeks anyway. But the vet's trying to tell us that doesn't work for them. Give me that guy in my garage, lock the door, and I'll educate him. Because he got a stupid education wherever he went to school. And so just put that guy in my garage, and then I'll educate him. But the bottom line is there's no difference between us walking in with the pup or the owner walking in with the pup 24 hours later and getting the boosters. There's absolutely no difference. And anybody that tries to tell you that there's a difference is completely brainwashed, brain dead, and dumber than a bag of wet sawdust. That's just the way it is. And there's no denying it. And nobody can deny that fact. It makes no sense. So they're coming at us in all ways. They're attacking the pure blood breeds in every fashion you can imagine. They're approaching it from all angles. They're poisoning the feed every single day. Now you read about contaminants in the feed. You read about diseases breaking out, all kinds of cancer issues caused by the feed, all of that. They're putting toxic chemicals. I mean, it's just unbelievable. So what you need to look at doing now is getting really clean, pure dogs, strong dogs, healthy dogs, raised out in the best environment, fed the best food. And they don't have to be Elkhounds. But right now, the whole world's going to pieces, and it's going to get a little bit crazy. And there's going to be a couple tough years coming, maybe 3, maybe 4. And it's going to be brutal. And there's going to be a lot of people needing to get out here, get away from the cities, get away from the people, get away from the risks, all of that, and also look for food out here. And without a hunting dog, you're hooked. Most people have no clue anymore how to hunt. They have no clue how to survive, and if they do, they're going to just be enhanced by having a hunting dog. It's proven over and over and over. And where you're going to get hunting dogs of any caliber in North America, there's only really one kennel, and that's us. Camilla Kennel's dogs are literally the last holdout of hunting dogs. We're pretty much it for big game hunting dogs. And all our dogs are full on, full instinct, full hunt dogs, like Guru here. His mother's a triple champion. I mean, she's a full on bear hunting champion. She's full on moose hunting champion. Show champion to boot after that. His dad, double champion. These guys love hunting. This is all he does. Kai's whole heritage is hunt dogs. Now, we got one of the best dogs out of Sweden, the Norwegian phenom Swix. He come over a few years back. We took a collection out of him. We put that in Tika. She had pups there a couple of years back, almost 3 now. And her daughter, Aspen, is bred now. Now, that is phenomenal because that's the best phenom hunt line out of Sweden. And we took Karoo over there and mated him to Aspen. So now you've got that line of Kai and Tika, which is the Brahmin Dakota lineage, bred to Swix, then bred to Karoo. You cannot get better full-on hunt dogs than that line that's coming. That Kaliva set of pups down there, incredible dogs. That's Karoo's daughter. That's bred to Pretty Boy Leaf. Old Pretty Boy Leaf, he can hunt, boy. His dad, I got photos of his dad sitting by the bear they hunted. That's a good hunt line. And Pretty Boy Leaf's the father of that litter of Karoo and Kai's daughter, Rita. Pretty Boy Leaf's the father. So those are some serious hunt dogs. They're dragging squirrels around right now at 4 weeks. And tremendous dogs. So yeah, now is the time to get thinking about what's going to happen and how you want to hike and how you want to have some activity out in the wild and what you want to do, and just in terms of pure outdoor activities with a good dog, these are the best dogs. But what we've got to look at doing is changing perceptions in the industry as well. We got to quit listening to these so-called professionals that have no working knowledge and can't even think. We've got to change that. We've got to watch the food manufacturers. They're all after us. These breeding concepts that are killing off these pure lines, we've got to stop doing that. That's not working. That's a bad practice, and there's many practices that we need to stop as individuals, breeders, and dog owners, because it's taken its toll, and it's not all up to individual breeders to do it. We as a collective group. Now, I've got a whole group of co-breeders working with me, a dozen or more. And these people are focused, they're good, they're solid, and they understand this whole concept. And they're working with me, but we need all the people that are taking the pups to buy in. You no longer can be just neutering intact full-line dogs. You have to stop that practice. That cannot happen anymore. You got to quit that. We need all the genetics. We cannot just purely just slice and dice. We cannot do it anymore. We need all the genetics. You cannot just spay these females. We may need them. We could have a real disaster sometime and go to need the genetics and can't find them. And everybody's neutered good males. And I've just found that out too. I've contacted a whole group of people about males and found out they were all neutered. And I'm thinking, wow, I didn't talk about it enough. I got to talk about it more. So I'm talking a lot more now. I don't want you guys getting my males and neutering them. I want you to be a man, step up to the plate and keep them intact. Look after the dog properly and keep them intact. I've never neutered a male, and they don't do it in Norway, Sweden, and Finland. That's not a practice they do, and all my people keep them intact. But what we're finding is they're getting brainwashed, and got to quit that practice. It's just bad. So that's where we're at today. But right now, in terms of what's coming in the world, my dogs are extremely valuable now. Everybody can see it now. Everybody understands now how valuable a remote terrain dog is, a working dog is going to be. And especially a dog that can find food and a dog that can look after you while you're out. But those dogs are quickly disappearing, believe me. But we've got lots of them right now. We're about the only breeder left that's really focused on that entirely. And we got the group. And personal nature. I mean, you cannot beat this dog for personal nature. This is phenomenal. What a companion dog. I mean, just lives to be right here. So yeah. So let's get hiking, crew. Let's get you moving, boy. I'll wrap this baby up. We'll get going. I'll get this baby wrapped up. There's guy. Girl guy. Good. Phenomenal pair of dogs, these two. Nice. Full European dogs, these guys.